Shanna here. Welcome to my channel all about finding joy while living with autoimmune disease. I am so glad to have you here. So today we are doing autoimmune disease and marriage Q&A with my husband part 2. So he is back with us today. Thank you. And he's going to be answering some more of your guys' questions. So we're just going to go ahead and jump right in. All right, so question number 1. And just a reminder, he has not heard these questions. So thank you for being a good sport. All right. Did you change your diet and lifestyle along with your wife?
I wouldn't say that I changed alongside you. You know, I mean, obviously you made pretty drastic changes right away, and you were very committed to eating by following the autoimmune protocol. And even to this day, I don't follow that diet. I would say that my diet's changed drastically. At first it was just dinner that we just, well, at first you started making dinner, your own dinner and then our dinner separately. And I think we all realized that was just not going to work.
Yeah, not fun.
And so then we started just eating the same things for dinner. But I mean, I think over time now, it's now been well over a year and a half.
It's been over a year and a half now.
It's just kind of become the way that we eat, and we found a lot of recipes as a family that we just love to have that taste great, that fit your diet. Obviously when we go eat out, I don't always eat the way that you eat. I don't eat, I'll still eat things that you would never eat. But I think that my choices have changed drastically, even along the way. So my diet has improved drastically. But I still don't eat exactly the way that you eat.
How about lifestyle? What would you say about your lifestyle?
It's changed. I mean, geez, it's changed a lot. Obviously, I'm sure many of your viewers know that we've recently moved, and I mean, lifestyle. One of the big things about lifestyle is sleep. I used to never sleep at all. I would sleep maybe 5 hours a night. And now that we've moved and we're in a different situation, I'm sleeping probably at least 8 or 9 hours a night, which feels great.
Sleep makes such a huge difference, even if you don't have a chronic illness or autoimmune disease.
Yeah. And so, and there's other things that maybe I don't do as consistently as I should, as far as like meditation and just taking time to breathe through things and relax and give myself an opportunity each day. There's been times where I've done really well at that, and there's times where I haven't done so well. Right now is not so well time. But yeah, my lifestyle's changed. Exercise has always been a part of our lifestyle, and I try very hard to continue to exercise. So is there anything else that you were referring to?
No, I was just curious. So thank you. As far as our diet, so as Blair mentioned, so when I started the AIP, I was cooking separate, and then him and our kids were still eating the way that we'd always eaten. They were 10 and 12 at the time. And we learned, as you said, that it's just easier just to make one meal. And we kept things really simple on the AIP at first. We just stick to like proteins and veggies. And it's actually super simple if you focus on what you can include and then just mix and match it all. And then in time, I feel like we both kind of got burnt out and of just kind of like the blandness. And so we really started finding recipes. There's so many AIP recipes online, like for free. There's amazing AIP food bloggers. I'll link to some. And then we have our favorite AIP recipes. Most of your favorite recipes that we make now are AIP, and so I'll link to some of our favorites too. But really, you can make some amazing food AIP. There's AIP treats and desserts, all kinds of things. And so he mainly works from home now, and so he's home at lunch. And so usually my husband and kids eat, typical breakfast foods at breakfast, eggs, bacon, and I eat AIP bacon too. So our breakfasts do look different. I'll either do an AIP green smoothie with like avocado and spinach and fruit and water, and then I'll add in like some collagen peptides, or I'll do like leftovers for breakfast. But as far as lunch and dinner, I would say most of the time you guys stick pretty much AIP. Sometimes we'll add in a side that's not AIP, like rice or potatoes that aren't sweet potatoes, or they'll do like spaghetti. He makes a mean pot of spaghetti, so he'll make a big pot of spaghetti for him and the kids that will last like days, and then I'll just kind of do quick and simple AIP like stir fry meals. So anyways, that's just what we've done. I think every family does it a little bit differently, but that's just worked really well for us. So the next question, this one I think we just kind of touched on. I'll see if you have any thoughts to add. Did he try AIP with you, or did you do 2 meals?
Yeah, I think that we just touched on that a little bit, but at first, again, we were doing separate meals at first. It didn't last very long, and I think one of the main reasons why, and this isn't part of the question, and I'm not sure if it's going to come up later, but it's just cleanup. I mean, one of the biggest, I think, challenges that we've had, maybe not challenges, it's just life, is cleaning up. I mean, when you try and cook 1 meal, the kitchen's a disaster. When you try and cook 2, forget it, just go to bed and deal with it tomorrow. And so very quickly we realized that just the prep and the cleanup alone was like, why are we doing this? And I'll say it again, and I think Shanna just mentioned it earlier, but you know, the things that we found that we can make are so good. Like, it sounds like, oh, there's so many things you can't have. You can't have this, you can't have that. You're so restricted. But there's so many things that you can have that taste so good. And like, I think some of the things that we eat now taste way better than things we used to eat. But we would have never tried them before. Yeah. So I forget what the question was, but I think that it started out that we were doing separate food for me and the kids, and very, very quickly it changed, just because for those purposes, for those reasons.
Yeah. And well, you mentioned like food prep somewhere in there, I think. So we go through phases where we're like on it with like our food prep and having like all of our, you know, our I's dotted and our T's crossed, or whatever the saying is. But we aren't always the best at that. But I will say, if you can do food prep, it just makes the cleanup easier. It makes the busy nights when you're running around the kids, or you know are wanting to go on a date night and need something to grab. It just makes everything easier. So that's something that we've been good about on and off, but we can definitely be better at. So next question. This one's a little bit longer. I recently got married, and my man eats and tries lots of healthy stuff. Awesome. We cook together a lot, and we often make 2 versions for dinner with small differences. I don't eat AIP yet, but still searching and trying the elimination diet. Do you have tips about eating or cooking together? And then, how does your husband cope with that?
That's a question for you. The second one.
Well, I just thought, I don't know how you cope with it, so I was going to ask you how you cope with it.
Oh, okay. All right.
I don't know. I'm just giving you my job too.
Gotcha.
Okay, so do you have tips about eating or cooking together? Do you want to tackle that one first? Sure.
Sure. I think one thing that we have found, and we do that sometimes, not a lot. I think of this one meal that we make in particular, this chicken teriyaki stir fry type of meal.
So good.
And it's pretty easy to make, and it tastes awesome.
You can say freaking, it's okay.
And me and the kids like to have it with white rice, which Shanna won't eat white rice, so she has it with cauliflower rice. So there's a meal that we do the same thing, where we make the meal and then we make a slight variation for me and the kids. So I think that's, as far as I think it's totally doable. Yeah. When I think about your diet, like, and the way that you eat, like, you eat a lot of the same things too. Like, you'll eat like cauliflower rice with everything, right? Like, because you want that vegetable in your meal, and you'll find a way to incorporate it. And we do that a lot too.
And I love like sweet potatoes, and I have my favorites where I love.
Sure.
Yeah.
And so sometimes me and the kids will want something a little different, and because it doesn't hurt us to eat those things, you'll do sweet potatoes like sometimes, and we'll have red potatoes,
like,
or whatever they're called. So we will do that too, and I think it's probably good. Not only, if it's not hurting our bodies, I don't see how it can be bad for me and the kids to have those things. So we will change it up a little bit, but that's not the norm.
Yeah.
I forgot the question now.
Okay, so it was how we cook together or eat together. So how about the cooking together part?
The cooking together part, I think one of the big things is just trying to make it fun. I mean, it's not always hard. Sometimes it's therapeutic to sit in the kitchen, and, well, at least for me, to sit and chop vegetables. I'll sit there sometimes when I need to and chop vegetables for like hours.
I hate chopping vegetables.
But I think if we can find ways to make it fun to be in the kitchen together, whether it be turn on some music in the background and dance around and just have fun while we're doing it, get the kids involved, so it's a family affair.
So our kids, just to jump in real fast, our kids are now almost 12 and almost 14, and they've been chopping vegetables and cooking and baking and
cutting fruit
and cooking, even AIP little skillet meals. So for sure, get your kids involved, because then it is a family thing. Sorry, I just wanted to pop in on that real fast.
No problem. I don't know, I just think finding ways to make it fun and not a chore, because it can seem like a chore a lot of the time. It's a chore to cook and to clean up. I think another important thing, and maybe this isn't answering the question exactly, but is we always cook extra.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be cooking every single meal.
Right.
And so it's nice to cook something and then for dinner or for lunch the next day, just heat it up.
Right.
Because if you're already prepping the food, you might as well prep extra and just cook it.
Amen. And just one more note on that. I'm convinced that slow dancing in the kitchen with your man will help any situation on any day. And the other thing that I wanted to pop on here and say too real fast is that I remember when I started AIP, I was at my rock bottom. Like a lot of people say, oh, how did you just jump right into it? How did you do it? I wasn't functioning. I was struggling to get out of bed. I couldn't walk around the block without resting. Do you remember those days?
Yeah, I remember we'd go on a walk about 100 yards and turn around and come back home. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was hard, and so I was desperate. And I mean, that I had gone from, working out all the time and being super mom, homeschooling, taking my kids on field trips, working from home, all the things, to that. So I had lost my life, the life that I knew, and so I was desperate to feel better. And so I was like, AIP, so my doctor told me there's no way of eat that I can feel better, but some people are saying if I eat this way then I can feel better. What do I have to lose? What do I have to lose? And so, but I will say that the hardest thing for me was getting into the kitchen when I felt so bad. So that was really hard because my body felt like I couldn't do anything, I needed to rest. But I had to trust that getting in the kitchen and making myself push through and make food that was on the autoimmune protocol, I had to trust that that was going to help me feel better. And it didn't for a couple weeks. I felt worse before I felt better, but I kept pushing through. And AIP really is you have to be 100% to really see all the benefits most of the time. And that was for sure my case. And so I will say that the cooking thing is hard, and so if you do have a supportive husband, that at the time my husband was working, commuting in Southern California. He was gone most of the day. He was gone before I woke up in the morning, and so I didn't have that kind of support then when I started AIP. But if you do have a man who can help you food prep, who can help you get started, at least until you start feeling better, I do recommend that. If not, just know that you can push through, that you can do it, and that it's worth it expending that energy in the kitchen so that you can start eating nutrient-dense whole foods that will help you feel better. And believe me, I was an emotional eater. I would eat mint and chip ice cream, cheese on anything, Mexican food, guacamole, which there's plenty of AIP guacamoles, but anyways, to make myself feel better. And so that was really hard too, to cut that out when I needed to change my diet and lifestyle. So I just wanted to say that. And then one more thing that nobody asked, but I think I think it's important that we talk about, and it kind of goes along with this, is we were very much of the mindset where we would be out and about, like our kids had activities and we'd just be busy. We would order pizza at least once a week. We would go grab Miguel's Jr., which if you're in Southern California, you know what that is, and it's amazing. I don't think they have other locations. But we were very much of the mindset, like, go grab something like Five Guys, In-N-Out, like. So was that hard on you when we stopped doing that?
Yeah, it was. I you know, it's been a while now. Time passes, and you tend to forget how things were. So this is an interesting question. I'm sure it was, just because it probably was harder on you than it was on me, because I would probably stop anyway, so I'll get me and the kids food, and then you could,
Yeah.
and then you could,
And you would eat out for lunch too.
So I think that maybe, you know, again, we sit here and I realize all the mistakes I've made, but
You're good.
you know, I think it was probably more difficult for you than it was for me, because and slowly over time we found the places that we can eat at, or the kids can eat healthy food at. I mean, I don't remember the last time we stopped and picked up a burger somewhere, you know. Even though the kids could eat a burger on a gluten-free bun.
We go to Burger Lounge. So like if you can find like a grass-fed burger place, there's like burger lounges, and they have paleo burgers, and you can modify them to be AIP, and just make sure you communicate about cross-contamination. But as far as like fast food, we don't do fast food.
Yeah. And I wanted, again, this wasn't asked, but as we were sitting here talking, I thought about another thing, which, now I forgot what it was. Oh, I know what it was. You know, you were talking about when you started AIP, and, you know, eating at home and how that's a challenge. And I think one mistake that we made was trying to eat out anyway, thinking that, oh, well, I can go to this place and I can order food and I'll just tell them I don't want nightshades on it, or I don't want this, and not fully understanding the whole concept of cross-contamination and how that can affect you. So then you come home from eating somewhere and not feel well, and then not know why, because it could have been stress, it could have been sleep, it could have been what you ate at home, it could have been so many different things, but it probably was just something that was put in the food that you ate, but we didn't know what was in it. And as time has gone by, we've realized more and more and more, as you've asked more questions at restaurants, how the ingredients they use at a restaurant are not the same thing that we use at home. And those things do matter. They do make a difference. And you only figure it out after you've made the mistake, and you don't feel well for a week, you know?
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. Like starting AIP is so hard, and there's so many ins and outs, and there's so many things about eating out that you don't realize, or that I didn't realize. And so I should do a video on that. I do have a blog post about eating out, and I'll link it. But I should update it, because even since I've written it, it's been 6 months. I've learned so much more about eating out. But yeah, absolutely. We did make it hard on me, because as I felt better, I wanted to go out and do all the things again, go on date night, and I agree that we did make that. My health was very much like this for a while as I was trying to figure out all of this stuff. So thank you. That's all the questions we're going to go over today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your perspective.
You're welcome.
We will do a third part, because we still have some more questions. Today was mainly AIP food focused and lifestyle focused, and then we have more for next week. So we will come back and do a part 3 next week. Thank you for watching. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment. Let us know your experience. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I publish new videos every Thursday. We hope you have an awesome week.